Good afternoon. My name is Donna and I'm your host of The Edge on IC Radio, your source for news and entertainment. You can also find us on television, channel 182 on Charter Communications. That's local to North Alabama. You can also find us worldwide. We are on Abundant Television, found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. You can also check out the podcast, netnewsnetwork.net. netnewsnetwork.net. Thank you so much for watching. You are the apple of my eyeballs, and I'll listen to you. When you send ideas for shows, I listen because we're all in this together, right? Right now, we're all thinking about money. What can I do to save? What can I do to keep my house? What can I do to feed my kids? What can I do? What can I do? What can I do? Well, we got it. And so we've been talking about this is part 2 of how to fight inflation. Again, we're all in this together, right? And so I found this really good article, financer.com. That's FINANCER.com. And this is some really good tips right here. 5 ways to beat inflation. We talked on the previous show about what is this all about? What is inflation? Can you ever win? It's like this endless circle. It just keeps going on and on. I want to get off. Okay, I want to be able to make a living and feed my kids and keep my house and, those kinds of things. I'm in it with you, okay? We want to make it, and we can make it happen together, okay? We're a team, right? We're going to do it. It's going to be with us, okay? With God's help. Absolutely. Okay, we talked about why is skyrocketing inflation such a problem. We talked about how inflation affects us, and it affects everybody, okay? 5 ways to beat inflation and brace up for a possible recession in 2023. Number 1 was to diversify your investment. I'm talking even part of your investment can be seeds, okay? Because everybody can have a garden. Yeah, I've heard a lot of you say, well, you got the green thumb. No, I don't. What you do is you talk with people who've been in gardening for a long time. You talk with them and listen, okay? Let them do the talking. You listen. You're going to find it's just like a wealth of knowledge. Brian Brown is one of my best friends now, and he is with the Auburn Extension Service. And so he is teaching a class on gardening, this master gardening class. And I'm taking those classes right now through Auburn University. And I'll have to tell you what, I thought I knew quite a bit, not a whole lot, but I thought I knew some. And I told Brian the other day, I said, you know what I have learned most from taking this class? He said, what? And I said, about pruning trees, plants. You prune everything, okay? You can't overdo it. You can't kill it. And that was always my big deal before. So I had less fruit. I had less vegetables on the vine. I had less of everything because I was letting all those leaves take over. So you're continually getting rid of the dead leaves. You got to leave air circulating throughout the branches, throughout everything. And also, that's what helps you to grow a garden, okay? That's my biggest takeaway right there. And there's lots of other great things. But I encourage you, wherever you are living, find a Master Gardener's class. I'm just telling you, you really need to do that because you can't always depend on the supply chain. You can't always depend on, you can't depend on the government, that's for sure. And I'll probably get my hand slapped about saying that, but you can't. I'm just being truthful with you. When it comes right down to it, it's you and your family, okay? And you can make a stand and you can take care of this stuff. You can do it. Talked about real estate, the bonds, gold. I still say seeds are more prevalent than gold. Okay, you get that big old block. It'd be nice to have it, but you got that big block of gold, okay? And then let's say the supply chain just is horrible, and bread goes up to $50 a loaf, and you got that big thing of gold. You got that big old brick of gold. What are you going to do? Give the guy at the grocery store that block of gold because you can't cut it into pieces? I mean, think of these things. This is all common sense stuff, okay? Think of it. Okay, we talked about cutting down on expenses, keeping track of your spending by the common items. So let's talk a little bit more about that. We got into paying every penny saved is a penny earned. That's exactly, you're actually giving yourself a raise. This is the way I look at it. Okay, so I wait until things go on sale. I just always have done that. So I wait until items go on sale, if I possibly can. So that money that I've not spent, I've given myself a raise. You can do any job. I start my very first job. Now I always cleaned houses and babysitting and stuff like that as kids. I got my first car. I bought it myself. My parents said, "You want a car? Buy it." Well, I did. Was it the best car on earth? No, but it got me where I needed to go. So always, whatever you do, my first job was at a sewing plant. Do you know, I know people who have retired from the sewing plant who have more money than people who worked at a high rise in New York because they knew how to save their money. That's a big part of it. If you're making $500,000 a year and you're spending $600,000 a year, you're working like the government. So you're never going to get anywhere. You're always going to be on that little wheel going round and round and round. So you can have a job, and I actually liked the sewing job. I thought it was a pretty good one. Of course, I kept cutting my fingers and stuff like that. I didn't cut them off, but I was on constantly with the blades cutting my fingers. I love sewing and I love crafting. It's probably where I got my love for crafting. So have little side jobs. You can do that as well. All right, now buy the common things. Buy the things you got to have. Oh, and you know what? I don't have to buy cabbage anymore and pay $5 for a cabbage head. You know why? Because I cut off that little bottom core part. Everybody can do this. Find a plastic dish, whatever, or maybe one of your saucers. Put a little bit of water, just enough to cover it, maybe 1/8 of an inch of water in the bowl. Put that cut off cabbage bottom, that core, put that into that, and it makes more cabbages. It's become a game with me. I love it. Whatever I can repurpose and reuse, I'm doing that. Do you know you can get a banana? You can get a potato, and you can actually sprout food from that. Yeah, you can get some dried beans and put that in a potato plant. They did it back in the colonial days, back a long time ago, when they were shipping things from, say, from England back here to, or wherever people were coming in from, back to the United States when this country was founded, and that's how they were keeping food. They were putting it in potatoes. Who'd have thunk? They were smart back in those days. We need some of that brilliance. Okay, so whatever you've got, inflation indicates that you spend way below your means so that you can have enough left over to save, because you need to save. All right, now, use a fuel-efficient car. Gas prices have grown. It's through the roof. It's crazy since 2020. And although prices have receded, they're still higher than pre-pandemic levels. Well, they're going back up again since this person wrote this article. If your car is not fuel efficient, consider using public transport or walking if your destination is within walking distance. So Brad and Larissa live in a townhouse, and they're close to the Raleigh, North Carolina area. It's my son and daughter-in-law. And so they can walk everywhere they go. As a matter of fact, when we've had icy weather, Brad and Larissa, they'll go into work if they have to walk 10 miles in the snow. They're just that type. They were raised right. Although I think that's a little extreme. But anyway, Brad's needed on his job. And so it's within just a couple of miles. And he has walked in the snow, literally walked in the snow to go to work because he was needed. He had to be there. And so if you can work as close, like me, what do? I just go to another room because Phil has built a studio onto the house. Works out really good. I like it. Now you've got to be structured, okay? You've got to know that this is a job. And as a matter of fact, I probably wind up working more hours than I would if I worked somewhere in a building somewhere for someone. But think about that, okay? Think about efficiency. Think about fuel efficiency. Don't buy a gas hog right now. If you're thinking about buying a car, buy one that's much more efficient on gasoline. And the newer ones are more efficient. Okay, number 3, use debt responsibly. Yes, inflation is a good time to exercise some self-control. Use your credit cards wisely, and if possible, shop only with cash so you can keep track of everything you are buying. Don't take a loan if it's not urgent. Rising interest rates means borrowing money will be more expensive, so don't buy something you really don't need right now. Okay, so using credit cards wisely. If you have a credit card, I like to use a credit card because it helps me keep up with my business expenses. So when I'm buying fuel, I have the Walmart Capital One card. So with the Walmart Capital One card, it's pretty cool because I also get money back. So what I do is I keep tabs of that money back. So let me tell you what I do. I just make a game out of it. It's kind of fun. So if you are lucky enough to have a $5 store anywhere around your area, I mean, you got a huge blessing just right there. In these $5 stores, basically what you do is you get things that have been returned from Amazon. There's some stuff you don't want to buy. You got to be wise about it. So this is what I do. With my credit card, whatever I've spent money on, and another thing I do at the Walmart Capital One card is whatever I buy online, I get 5% back. I know it doesn't seem like a whole lot, but think about this. So let's say in a month's time, I have spent $100 at Walmart on daily needs, groceries, maybe, things, just anything that you're going to need for the house, cleaning products, those kinds of things. And so I'm doing it online. If you go into the store and you check yourself out, you make 2%, but I want 5%. So what I do is I order online. Sometimes it's shipped to me. Sometimes I have to go pick it up. Guess what? I don't have to go inside the store. I'm not going to see that Snickers bar sitting right there saying, "Hey, Donna, buy me." I'm not seeing any of that stuff. So I'm spending less in the long run. It helps me to keep up with my budget. Okay. So another thing I do is I'll fill the cart. You don't have to check out yet. You can go ahead as you're thinking of things. That's another thing. Before this, I would run to Walmart before I knew it. I would forget what I was looking for. I would forget the note, like my little list. Then I started getting wise and I went on ahead and put the list on I would send myself a text with stuff I needed. But here's what I would do. I would go in, let's see, I'm going to get toilet paper today when I go to Walmart. Well, I would go there, get everything but toilet paper. This is just a foolproof way to do it. Shop online. If you can, you qualify. Get that Walmart Capital One card. Again, it's 5% back. And then if you shop inside the store, it's 2% back. But shop online, have it sent to you, or go to the store and pick it up. Again, if you're going to the store and you're picking it up, you're not going to be, that Snickers bar looks really good. Let me go ahead and get that, because the Snickers bars have went up in price and I just don't appreciate paying that much more. Anyway, oh, I'm seeing what time it is. We've got to go into a commercial break. We're going to be right back in just a minute. More money saving tips to fight inflation. The Hatter Cafe and Country Inn is nestled in the northeast corner of Alabama the Beautiful in the delightful town of Mentone. We're located on top of scenic Lookout Mountain near Little River and DeSoto State Park, and located only 5 minutes from shopping and restaurants. There is also a nearby community walking path and golf course. We welcome everyone through the doors, and we are committed to outstanding service for all guests. At the Hatter Cafe and Country Inn, we invite people from all walks of life to come and get away from it all, enjoy the open spaces, treetop views, fresh, clean air, and experience Southern hospitality at its finest. We look forward to hosting you. To reserve a special event, or if you would love a special getaway at the Country Inn, you can call us at 256-634-2018. At Liberty Bank, we're all about community, whether it's to help with a charity fundraiser or help families in need. Toys at Christmas or a local football team, we're here for you. You see, we realize the importance of family. Sometimes it's to build a new home or necessary home repairs. We're here for you. If you like the feel of a small town bank with all the conveniences of a big city bank, we're here to serve you. You will find us at any of our convenient locations in DeKalb, Marshall, Etowah, and Blount counties in North Alabama. You can call and speak with any of our friendly staff at 256-659-2175, or check us out on the web at libertybankal.com. And thank you for your support of our community. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender. The only place I buy my beef is Lone Tree Ranch in Collinsville, Alabama. Their cattle is born and raised on their ranch, grass and grain fed, and you can feel confident when you serve your family and friends because their beef is all natural and no antibiotics or hormones are added. You can buy whole beef or perhaps go in with family or friends and buy half. Their customer service is number one as they take care of the delivery to their local processor and can deliver to your home for a small added fee. They also offer herd replacement heifers. I always call Lone Tree Ranch in Collinsville, Alabama for my beef specialty recipes and cookouts, and you can too. Food shortages are increasing, so buy local by calling 256-523-6462. That's 256-523-6462. Let Rhonda at Rhonda's Elite Tax LLC take the burden off you for all your tax needs. I know because Rhonda has been taking care of my business since 2013. I feel Rhonda works for me because she knows the direct questions to ask to better benefit my unique business in order for me to get back the biggest refund possible. Rhonda is an ongoing student, and she knows tax laws are in a constant change every year. Call 256-281-9903 for an appointment to take the dread out of getting your taxes done. Rhonda is located at 11968 U.S. Highway 431 in Boaz. Again, that number is 256-281-9903. And let Donna's Elite Tax LLC champion your personal and business taxes. At Lamone's Mexican Restaurant, located in Henniger, Alabama, and voted Best Mexican Restaurant of DeKalb County, Alabama 2020, we're here to serve you with authentic Mexican cuisine. Order easily online by going to lamonsmex.com or call 256-657-3999 to place your order. We're open Sunday through Thursday 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Friday and Saturday 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Whether you're celebrating a cozy date night for two or a celebration for a crowd, at Lamone's you'll love our atmosphere and friendly servers. Thank you for dining with Lamone's Mexican Restaurant. Okay, we are back. My name is Donna and I'm your host of The Edge on IC Radio, your source for news and entertainment. You can also find us on television, channel 182 on Charter Communications, and we are syndicated on Abundant Television, which is found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. Thank you, Rob Patz, for making that happen. And also, you can check out our podcast. It's netnewsnetwork.net. netnewsnetwork.net. And we appreciate that opportunity as well. But thank you so much for watching. We're talking about how to fight inflation. And there's one thing I do is make a game out of it. If you'll make a game out of fighting inflation, it's going to be much more fun. And you'll find you'll be saving a lot more in the long run. Yeah, we're talking about credit cards and how to save money on that. Go to Walmart, go online, find the Capital One Walmart card. 5% if you order online. And again, several different ways you can save money. Not only will you get 5% back, I'm keeping a list of the 5% I get back. So that 5% I get back is where I go to the $5 store and then I buy more products. I can sell it on eBay. I can use products to make things with, in crafting. I've got my props there to use on the show. So guess what? I'm not spending just a ton of money, and a lot of folks do. I'm watching some folks who have shows and they have craft shows. They're spending a whole bunch of money. You don't have to. You can find other ways to do that as well. Okay, so we've talked about that. The common items, and that live, be, Wait a minute, wait a minute. Keep track of spending. Okay, so live below your means is a very effective advice to manage your personal finances, especially in a time with skyrocketing prices like right now. Inflation dictates that you spend way below your means so that you can have enough left over to save. So buy the common items. And by the way, there are store brands that are exceptionally good. I know Walmart has their store brands of products that I buy all the time. Store brand is just as good as the national brand. And then also you're helping Walmart, whoever you're buying from, you want them to stay in business, right? So this is something my son taught me. He's in the grocery store business. And so he said, when you buy store brands, Mom, when you buy store brands, he said, you're actually helping the company to make a bigger profit. So think about that, okay? I want them to make a profit because I want them to stay in business. If Walmart or whoever you're shopping with is making a profit, your Lowe's is one of our sponsors. If they're making a profit, guess what? Then they're going to be in business longer. They're going to be able to afford to go down on the cost of the product. So that's what you want to achieve, okay? Wherever you work, you should not be looking out just for yourself when you're working for an employer. You need to be looking out after the employer. If the employer is making money for a change and he's not just paying your salary to stay in business, so if he's making a profit, guess what? It's going to trickle on down to you. You're going to get a raise. If you're doing a job, now Mr. and Mrs. Employer has to know that you are worth it. Okay? I'm just telling you, I've been on both sides of the deal. If you're worth it, I'm going to give you a raise. Absolutely, I will. Okay, use a fuel efficient car. We had started talking about that just a few minutes ago. Gas prices have just really it's unreal. Make sure you got a good car. We talked about using debt responsibly. Um, okay, let's talk about, in debt responsibly. That also means um, pay what's on your credit card balance. Let that be another one of your priorities. Try not to put a whole lot on there, but if you're paying interest, it's not doing you a whole lot of good to get 5% back on your Capital One cards. You know why? Because you're going to wind up spending a heck of a lot more. You just will. That's another common sense thing. So be really careful about that. Stock up on food. That's my number one thing right there. Stock up on food. Yeah, make sure you look at expiration dates on food. Now, I have found that the expiration date is what they advise. So let me talk to you about expiration dates on food. Okay, so let's just say you've got 6 months left on a can of beans. Okay, as long as that can of beans, you can use two different reasonings for this. If it looks like it's the can has kind of gotten a little bit bigger, you know what I mean? So it's swelled a little bit, throw it away, don't even open it. It's going to smell like I don't know what. So throw that can away. Now, if you open it up, it hasn't swelled, use your nose, okay? This is a real good indicator right here. So if it has a funky smell of any sort, that's even in fresh vegetables that you buy. Anything you buy, if the food has an awful smell to it, toss it. Okay, it's not worth getting sick over. But I'm just telling you, I have used foods like it's checking in. See, I treat my kitchen like a business. So if I have something that's in the back of the pantry and I see, oh, let's see, that expired a year ago. Should I use it? The can looks okay. Doesn't have any puffiness on it. I'm going to open it up. I'm going to use my nose as a tester too. So I'm using the nose as a tester and it still smells good. I'm using it. Okay, that's what the company suggests. That's the expiration date suggestion. Now, I wouldn't use anything that's 10 years old, but just be within reason. If it has a smell to it, toss it. I have opened things that were like in the expiration date, like maybe it had 2 years left on it, and opened it and it smelled. So just always use your nose anyway, whether it has the expiration date on it or not. But do stock up on food. You need to keep your food organized, okay? Because there's nothing worse than finding I bought a bunch of beans that were on sale, whatever, and then I didn't keep up with my inventory. And then 2 years from now, I found that there's a bunch of them, they smell bad and they they have an expiration date that's went way past the expiration date. So be sensible about it. Know that it's something you're going to use, and then I give away a lot of stuff. So I know that I'm going to be able to use those beans, or I'm going to be able to use them, give them to somebody else, maybe somebody who's hungry down the road or whatever. So, that's just another good thing. Stock up on food. Now, number 5, have an emergency fund. Okay, an emergency fund is a safety net to fall back on tough times. Just make sure your emergency fund has enough to cover living expenses up to 3 months, if at all possible. 3 months without any income coming in. Inflation does not stop emergencies from happening. No, it doesn't. Car's going to break down. That's what cars are. You know what? They're not. When you buy that shiny new car, I'd never buy a new one, by the way. That's why I always loved shopping with Bobby Ledbetter. I always loved it. So we bought a used car, saved a lot of money. I didn't lose a bunch of money driving it off. If you can afford it and you want to, go ahead and buy one. I'm just telling you that I don't want to buy a new car. I always want to find somebody I trust with a used car. And Bobby's one of them. And so I miss doing business with him. So anyway, just make sure, okay, that you find something you need to get. If you have a friend who's a mechanic, what you can tell the used car salesman is that I have a friend who's a mechanic. Is it okay with you if I leave this car here and take this one? I'll leave you my keys and whatever I need to leave, but I'd like to take this to a trusted mechanic. First of all, if that person is worth their weight in any kind of gold whatsoever, they're going to let you do that. Bobby always would. So if you've got somebody who trusts what they're doing, they'll do that. I know that there was one car that Phil bought. It was like a long time ago. Is we were living in Oxford, Alabama, I think, and so we drove it off the. It looked good, smelled good, all this kind of stuff, and it ran good when we did the test drive. We were driving down the road, and it was like Phil heard something. He can hear anything in a car that I never hear. So he said, "Do you hear that?" And I said, "Hear what?" And he said, "That's making some kind of a noise. I don't like the sound of that noise." So we went on ahead and took it by somebody that was a mechanic he knew. And he said, "Did you just buy this car?" And he said, "Yeah." And he said, "You might want to take it back." He said, "You're going to have a problem." I think it was alternator or something. He said, "It's okay right now, but 6 months from now, you're going to wind up having to buy a new alternator, and that's going to be some money there." If at all possible, pay cash for your car. That's just another thing. But have an emergency fund just in case you got to have an alternator for that car. And the price of batteries has went up in cars like, man, tripled. It's unreal. I remember the day when a car battery was only $30. I remember actually being $19.99. Yeah, that was a long time ago. And some of you young people out there don't know what in the world I'm talking about. Car battery was $19.99 when I graduated out of high school. Isn't that crazy? Okay, now to sum this whole thing up, while a moderate level of inflation is necessary for economic growth, skyrocketing inflation has the opposite effect. In the long run, it leads to an upward spiral of wages and prices and erodes the purchasing power of money. We don't like that. To curb inflation, the Fed has been raising interest rates, spending to drive the prices down. I don't think it's working, but anyway, there are people who will argue that fact with me. While this has had some effects on the inflation rate, it will take time to get back to pre-pandemic levels. We're summing that up. In the meantime, you'll have to hedge against inflation and brace up for a possible recession. I think we're already in it. As economic activity recedes due to rising interest rates, the best way to hedge against inflation and brace up for a possible inflation is to diversify your investment portfolio. That can mean whether you have stocks and bonds or you're just finding a new way to save money. And remember, saving it is like getting a raise, okay? Sure is. Like I said before earlier in the show, I know people who've been working at plants, sewing plants, whatever, sock mills, stuff like that, who have more money than the people who had to actually high rise in New York City. They've been able to put that money back. So think about that. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Donna, and I'm your host of The Edge on IC Radio, your source for news and entertainment. You can also find us on television, channel 182 on Charter Communications, and Abundant Television, which is found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. And check out the podcast. We appreciate you doing that. netnewsnetwork.net. netnewsnetwork.net. Again, thank you so much for watching. means so much to me. And thank you for advice also. Any other topics you would like for me to talk about? Just go ahead and send an email my way. Donna at icradio.com. Donna at icradio.com. Thank you again so much for watching. Good afternoon. My name is Donna Fiesel, and I'm your host of The Edge on IC Radio, your source for news and entertainment. You can find us on television, channel 182 on Charter Communications, and Abundant Television, which is found on Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire, and check out our podcast, netnewsnetwork.net. We appreciate any way you find us and listen to the show and to the radio station as well. And remember, Top 50 is always on Friday, Top 50, and that's you, the listener, who tells us what you would like for us to play on the radio station. And then also, everything that you would like for us to talk about, send an email to Donna at icradio.media. That's Donna at icradio.media. We've been talking about finances. We're they're calling it a recession, I think. Maybe that's what it feels like to me, almost a downright depression. But anyway, we're talking about ways you can save money, but now there are also ways you need to plan, whether you're having a recession or not. Even in the best of economic times, you need to start planning for a better future for yourself. So we're going to talk about a good monthly retirement income, okay? Retirement income. Now, this is for everybody, okay? So even if you're just in high school, you're getting your first new job, you need to already start thinking about retirement, because I promise you, take this from an old person here, those years will fly by, and before you know it, you're at retirement age and you have nothing saved. So let's talk about that. If you're dreaming of a comfortable retirement, everybody does. If you ever wonder how much money you'll need to support your lifestyle after you leave the workplace, with many variables to consider, planning for retirement can really seem like a daunting job, okay? So don't worry. This blogger right here is financer.com. That's FINANCER.com. In this blog post is some really good information. So what they're going to do, they've already done it. They're exploring the essential factors that determine how much monthly income you need to make in retirement. Now, this is a fact right here. According to the Social Security Administration, the average monthly Social Security benefit for retirees in 2023 is $1,545. But this may not be sufficient, especially for those who are used to a more lavish lifestyle. But there are different ways you can bring more income into your household. Whether you're just starting to think about your golden years or you're already counting down the days until retirement, keep reading for practical tips, and let me go ahead and get those tips to you for making your golden years truly a golden. Now, what I love about this website is they have all kinds of calculators that will help you figure out what kind of income you need to make. So there's a retirement income calculator on this. Now, what are we going to talk about today? We're going to make it two shows, part A and part 1 and part 2. So in the post, we're going to find out what a retirement is and why is it important. And then we're going to talk about what are the different types of retirement income, how to calculate your monthly retirement income needs, strategies for maximizing your retirement income, tips on creating a retirement budget, and what are some other ways to increase your retirement income summary. We're going to talk about that as well. Okay, what is retirement and why is it important? Okay, let's see what this blogger says. Retirement is a time when people can enjoy their life without the worries of working to support themselves. For many, it's a time to travel, spend time with family, pursue hobbies and interests. It's also a really important time for retirement to have the lifestyle you want and not have to worry about income. You don't have to worry about money, okay? There are many factors to consider when planning for retirement, such as how much money you will need to support yourself, how long you expect to live, and what your health care cost will be. You also need to think about whether you want to leave a legacy or provide for your family after you're gone. Retirement planning is important because it can help ensure that you have the financial resources you need to live and the lifestyle you want in retirement. It can also give you peace of mind knowing that you have taken care of your financial future. Okay, now what are the different types of retirement income? Okay, let's talk about those. There are more than you may think. Okay, there are four main types of retirement income: Social Security, pensions, annuities, and 401ks or IRAs. Now, depending on how inflation has taken over, some of this income can really vary. Okay, you can be better than you thought you were going to be or worse off than you thought you were going to be. Social Security. Social Security is a government program that provides a monthly financial benefit to retired Americans. The amount of the benefit is based on the worker's earnings history. Okay, let's talk about pensions. Pensions are another source of retirement income typically provided by an employer. They often take the form of defined benefit plan, which means that the employee will receive a set monthly payment after retirement. Now let's talk about annuities. We're going to get into more details about these as the show goes on, and this is part one and then versus part two. Annuities are contracts that provide guaranteed income for life. They can be purchased from an insurance company or through a 401k or from an IRA. Now, 401k and IRAs are savings plans that offer tax benefits to encourage individuals to save for retirement. Contributions can be made pre-tax or after tax, and the funds in these accounts can be used to purchase annuities at retirement. Okay, again, there are calculators on this website, financer.com, and you'll be able to pull that up. How to calculate your monthly retirement income needs. Let's talk about that for a few minutes. Now, when you're planning for retirement, one of the most important questions is how much monthly income you'll need to maintain your lifestyle. There are a number of factors to consider, like your expected expenses, and it's going to go up. That's one thing I know. Inflation going up, and whether you plan to continue working in some capacity. And again, we've got that online calculator that you can use to help you calculate. Now, calculating retirement income can be challenging. I promise you that, but it's essential to get a rough estimate of what you expect. And you can start by determining how much income you will need each year to cover your living expenses. Now, this is the general rule of thumb. Aim for 70 to 80% of your pre-retirement income. I would even go at a different rate. But anyway, at least 70 to 80%. Once you have an estimate of your monthly expenditures, you can start to think about how much income you'll need to cover these costs. I know that, life happens. Different things can happen. There are a lot of retirees who are actually taking care of their grandkids right now. Some reason or another, maybe their kids can't handle the kids. And so that's added expense. So you need to think about possible ways that your income could be affected. Okay, so here's a monthly retirement income formula. Okay, income required, retirement expenses, and it's the spam risk coming in. Let's get rid of that. Over time, okay, and then let's do this again. I got interrupted by a spam call. Okay, income required, retirement expenses, retirement income from other sources. Now, consider also the impact of inflation on your retirement income needs. Over time, the cost of goods and services will it's just always going to increase. So it's important to account for that in your planning. Now, this is another good rule of thumb, is to assume that inflation will eat up about 3% of your purchasing power each year. No kidding. I would say in some cases more than that. Depends on who the president is. Okay. Finally, think about whether you plan to continue working in some capacity during retirement. Phil and I, we already chose to do that. First of all, we would drive each other insane if we were both retired right now. So we continue to work. So it's just because we've worked our entire lives. Now, if you decide in some capacity to work during retirement, That can also help offset some of your living expenses and reduce the amount of income that you'll need from other sources. How much savings will you need to retire? Let's talk about that for just a few minutes. Okay, once you know how much income you'll need, the next step is to calculate how much savings you'll need to produce that retirement income monthly. You can use the calculator, or you can use the 4% rule, which means your first income retirement year, you can withdraw 4% of your retirement savings. For example, let's talk about this. If you have 500, that's good. If you have $500 saved, you would take $20,000 from your savings during that first year of retirement. Most of us is going to be a lot less than that, but this is just a general figure. Now, this can be a lump sum or a series of payments. In the years following, you can adjust the amount upward to keep up with inflation. Now, here's the 4% rule formula. Retirement savings target equals annual income required by 25. Okay. Now, there are some flaws with the 4% rule, as it assumes you will withdraw the same amount from your retirement savings every year, inflation adjusted. Now, in some cases, you may want to withdraw more than the standard 4%. This goes to show just how essential it is to have some cash on hand as a retiree. Okay. And also, it depends on what your job experience has been. I know some people who retired from teaching are going back in because they just don't feel like is the time. Now, I would assume teaching is a lot different than it was 20 years ago. So, if you decided to go back in and take the plunge and teach again, anything else, I'll tell you something I love about the technical jobs, your welding and anything where you're working with your hands. I love those jobs. Let me tell you what I really like about them. And you can get the degree, be a teacher, be whatever you want to do, nurse, and and even nursing. You can go for other ideas as you retire. But I like the way technical jobs grow with you throughout the years. Okay, so let's say I want to become a welder. Okay, and there are men and women welders that are really, really good at what they do. So let's just say you want to work for the man. Okay, so you get your job, first job, and you're working for somebody, you're making really good money. And then, you've worked with them 10 years, you get a really good experience base going right there. And you decide 10, 15, 20 years, you want to own your own business. You're older, you got the experience, think you can run a business now, and or maybe the business shut down, you're sort of forced to go ahead and start your own business. And you can do that because you've got the experience to do so. Okay, so I went from working with someone to actually starting my own business. Okay, I've been successful in the business. I'm a really good welder, plumber, whatever, and I'm really good at it. And I decide, I think I'll just hand it on down to the kids, or maybe I'll just sell the business, do whatever. And so you've sold your business. Okay, you're driving your wife or your husband insane, okay, because you're home all the time. And both of you have retired. You know what you could do? You could work on contract. You can go into companies and teach companies on how to be the best craftsmen or their employees, how to be really good employees. And you're constantly taking trade experience certificates, by the way. So you're on spot on what welding is these days. And you got that going on. I know somebody's doing that. So what he is doing, he's retired from it, but he and his wife decide they want to take a trip maybe to Hawaii or something. He'll say, well, let me just go ahead and talk to some customers and let's talk to some companies and see if they'll let me go in and train their employees and make some income. You are an independent contractor at that time. They're paying you. Now you'll still have to pay taxes on it. But keep up with the expenses that it took for you to have the training and that kind of thing. And you'll find that you'll be in pretty good shape. So, and I'm going to tell you what a teacher can be, as long as they got their act together and as long as you've got the experience and you're up on what the new way to run that job is, you'll have income coming to you the rest of your life. You just will. So that's what I love about trade jobs. Let's go into a commercial break. We're going to be right back in just a few minutes. The Hatter Cafe and Country Inn is nestled in the northeast corner of Alabama the Beautiful in the delightful town of Mentone. We're located on top of scenic Lookout Mountain near Little River and DeSoto State Park and located only 5 minutes from shopping and restaurants. There is also a nearby community walking path and golf course. We welcome everyone through the doors and we are committed to outstanding service for all guests. At the Hatter Cafe and Country Inn, we invite people from all walks of life to come and get away from it all, enjoy the open spaces, treetop views, fresh, clean air, and experience Southern hospitality at its finest. We look forward to hosting you. To reserve a special event, or if you would love a special getaway at the Country Inn, you can call us at 256-634-2018.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and my employees and I want to thank each and every one of you for your continued support. With everything going on right now, your rest is so important. That's why we're having the biggest MyPillow sale ever. Not only are my bed pillows as low as $19.98, but you can get the best body pillows ever. Regular $89.98, now only $29.98. Take your rest on the go with our Roll and Go Anywhere MyPillows for only $14.98. And we have our new couch and accent pillows. They aren't just for looks. They have MyPillow's patented adjustable fill that gives you that amazing MyPillow comfort. In this economy, you get the best gifts ever for the best prices ever. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code and you get deep discounts on body, couch, bolster pillows, and so much more, including my original bed pillows for as low as $19.98. Please order now while quantities last.
Jeff McCurdy of the McCurdy Law Firm has been a public service of this area for over 10 years. McCurdy, a member of the Henniger City Council, serves as prosecutor for the town of Sylvania and was named public defender for the city of Rainsville. The McCurdy Law Firm is located at 17326 Alabama Highway 75 in Henniger to better represent his Jackson and DeKalb County clients. If you need to be represented by a true public servant with proven success, call Jeff at 256-996-8701 or send a private email to mccurdylawfirm@gmail.com. No representation is made that the legal services performed is greater than the legal services performed by other lawyers. Let Rhonda at Rhonda's Elite Tax LLC take the burden off you for all your tax needs. I know because Rhonda has been taking care of my business since 2013. I feel Rhonda works for me because she knows the direct questions to ask to better benefit my unique business in order for me to get back the biggest refund possible. Rhonda is an ongoing student, and she knows tax laws are in a constant change every year. Call 256-281-9903 for an appointment to take the dread out of getting your taxes done. Rhonda is located at 11968 U.S. Highway 431 in Boaz. Again, that number is 256-281-9903. And let Rhonda's Elite Tax LLC champion your personal and business taxes.
Are you ready?
We all wonder what tomorrow will bring, but the future lays itself at the feet of the prepared and surrenders to the will of the persistent. It's not easy, but today shapes you so you can shape tomorrow. With Northeast Alabama Community College, when the future asks if you're ready, you can answer.
Yes.
Begin your future at Northeast Alabama Community College.
Okay, we are back. My name is Donna Fiesel, and I'm your host of The Edge on IC Radio. We are your source for news and entertainment. You can also find us on television, channel 182 on Charter Communications, as well as Abundance Television, which is found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. We're for a break talking about skilled workers. And you start that career, it'll just be with you for a lifetime because skilled workers are always going to be in need. I mean, employers are always going to be looking for people who know what they're doing when it comes to skills. Okay, so go to school, go to Northeast Alabama Community College, go ahead and get that degree, or go ahead and get that certificate, and you're set for life. Okay, that's a for sure right there. Okay, now we're talking about strategies for your income. How much savings will you need to retire? Those are some really important things. Let's talk about strategies for maximizing your retirement income. Now, there's a number of, we just talked about one, and that's if you have a skilled job career and you worked for the man, then you started your own business, or maybe you worked for the man forever. It doesn't matter. In your retirement years, you can be a teacher. And you can see if you can get you a job down at Northeast or Sneed State Junior College. You never know what's going to come out of it. You can just go out and package your own self and let a company see your credentials, and you're going out there and start teaching employees on how to weld or how to do whatever it is that you do. That's just a good thing to do right there. Getting add to your income. Now, strategies for maximizing your retirement income. Now, there are a number of strategies that can be employed to help you maximize your retirement income. Okay, first of all, make sure you have a diversified portfolio of investments. This will help ensure that you have a steady stream of income throughout your retirement. Again, you don't even have to have that. Have a trade job, and it will go with you the rest of your life. Okay, start withdrawing from your retirement accounts as early as possible. This will allow you to take advantage of compound interest and make the most of your nest egg. That's what Brad has done. And so what he has done, he has a retirement account already, and he's only 40, he'll be 44 on his birthday. He has already actually taken a loan out from his compound interest account. He's paying his own self-interest. That's how you do it. That's the smart way. Keep your expenses in check during retirement. This will help you to stretch those dollars further and make the most of your limited income. Now, this is something else I want you to think about. And this is when you remember everything in life. Okay, so you have a retirement account. You've got a diversified portfolio investments. Remember these people you are hiring. And let me tell you something. I know it seems like I turn everything into politics. If I'm looking for someone to leave my money with, I would much rather that person be a conservative. I'm sorry. That's exactly how I look at it. If this person is a true conservative, and they're a true conservative in politics, they're conservative in how they handle their own income, that person's going to make you some money. It's your best shot. I'm sorry, common sense working here. But I'm saying that for everybody, okay? All right, so make sure you have diversified. You're keeping the expenses during check. We've talked about that. Okay, now let's talk about tips for creating a retirement budget. Okay, this is really important right here. So when it comes to creating a retirement budget, there are a few things you need to keep in mind. First of all, determine that monthly income. This includes any pensions, Social Security, or other sources of income. Some people can, and I'm talking to you young folks right now, there are some people who could look down on a particular job. I've heard people make fun of the lunchroom ladies. Well, let me tell you something. My aunt was a lunchroom lady forever. Okay, guess what? She not only is drawing her Social Security, she's drawing an income from being a lunchroom lady for working for the state of Alabama. So she's a lot better off than a lot of y'all were that made fun of lunchroom ladies. She got it going on. And so she did this. I know that she worked the lunchroom when I was going to Oxford High School, the junior high, and then Oxford High School. I'm not sure when she retired. She worked as long as she could because she just liked working, and she loved connecting with the kids. So it was just another source of income. Do you realize school systems are begging for people to work in the lunchroom? They're begging for school bus drivers. Be a school bus driver for 10 years. You're going to have a retirement income coming in. A lot of folks, smart people, are doing that. Be in the janitorial service for a high school or for any school in the state of Alabama or even in your state. You need to check these out. Schools, they're begging for people to work, okay? Work it out 10 years. Let's say you got a late start on it. You're 50 years old, got a late start, didn't really plan on it and that kind of thing. At 50 years old, work there 10 years, you're gonna be able to retire with 2 checks coming in. You're gonna have your Social Security coming in, and you're also gonna have that check from working in the lunchroom, being a janitor, driving a school bus. It's a pretty decent income. Think about that, young folks. You can spend a lot of money and you can still go to college now if you want to do that, but you can be saving up and paying cash instead of having this huge financial debt, okay? All right, determine the monthly income. This includes any pensions, being a school bus driver or whatever, your Social Security, or other sources of income. That can mean that you sell something on eBay. I do that every month. That can mean I've got a garden and I'm selling on the marketplace on Facebook, or I'm selling food at the farmer's market. Anything like that is income. Working from your home is a wonderful thing, and working from your home, having a garden, and you're selling food is a super awesome thing. It most certainly is. Need to check that thing out. Okay, subtract. We've determined what the monthly income is. So you're subtracting your monthly expenses from your monthly income. This should give you the idea of how much money you got left over at the end of the month. You can still save. And again, you're saving money. When you save money, that's like earning money. We talked about that in another show just a couple days ago. Okay, number 3, make sure to factor the inflation when budgeting for retirement. Now, price on items tend to go up over time. Let's just use a dozen eggs, for example. We all know that, okay? Not only the price of things, but, the supply chain. I mean, what if, I can find eggs, but because of inflation, they've went up to $7 a dozen. And because of that, I'm paying more. All those things you got to think about. Because this is not the first time this has happened. Okay, we're fussing about this, but it's happened before. I remember in the 70s it happened when I was graduating from high school, and we can say it has nothing to do with Jimmy Carter or with Biden, but those things are happening. Subtract your monthly expenses from your monthly income. That gives you the idea of how much money you got left over. Try to save that as much as you can. Make sure to factor in inflation when budgeting for retirement. We talked about that earlier, but please do. Prices on items tend to go up over time, so you'll need to account for that. Don't forget about unexpected expenses. If you got a car, somewhere down the line, you're going to have to buy tires for that car. Somewhere down the line, you got to get the brakes fixed. Somewhere down the line, alternator's going to tear up. Somewhere down the line, you got to have a battery, and I fussed about this a lot. I remember when batteries were like $19.99, and they're much more expensive than that now. Thank God I've got a husband who knows how to put a battery in a car. So, because if he didn't know how to do that, you know what? I'd have to hire somebody to put a battery in the car. So, unexpected expenses. Something's going to happen to your plumbing. It could be in the wintertime. Maybe you thought you had the water running in the wintertime and it hit freezing and the pipes have busted. Guess what? You got to hire a plumber. And guess what? A whole bunch of folks like you forgot to leave the water running. And so he's very busy. So guess what? He's going to go up on the price of doing things. That's just the way it goes. And some things we just have to think about. Okay, so unexpected expenses, you need to have some money like for medical bills, might catch the flu. I mean, there's all kinds of things that can happen. Or home repairs. Yeah, that can happen. You're living in a house. It's not going to always look like it does right this very minute. You're going to need to paint some. There's be times there may be a piece of wood rotting. Maybe you didn't know you had a leak in water, like in your tub or whatever. That's what we've experienced by moving into my grandparents' house. So we've had to deal with that. But things happen, okay? Kids are going to get sick, got to get cough medicine, got all that kind of stuff going on. Number 5, review the budget regular and make adjustments as needed. Just like pruning a tree, you got to prune back on your budget too. As your income or expenses change, so should your budget. Okay, folks, I've got to call it a day. We are at the end of this particular segment. I'm going to have a part 2 coming up, shortly. So make sure you hang around. Maybe the next day or two, you'll see another part to this one. But again, thank you so much for watching The Edge on IEC Radio, your source for news and entertainment. You can also find us on television, channel 182, on Charter Communications and Abundant Television. We are syndicated. You can find us on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. And don't forget the podcast, netnewsnetwork.net. That's a bunch of nets. Netnewsnetwork.net. 3 nets in there. Thank you again so much for watching. You take care. I'll be seeing you shortly. Good afternoon. My name is Donna, and I'm your host of The Edge on IC Radio, your source for news and entertainment. You can find us on television, channel 182 on Charter Communications, as well as Abundant Television. And you can find us there on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. We also have a podcast. And that email address, or that address, is netnewsnetwork.net. And you'll be able to see all of our shows out there as well. But thank you so much for watching. We definitely appreciate it. Loretta Roger is with me right now. And we're crafters. And I'll have to tell you what. I've had a weird life growing up. So I'll have to tell you this. Crafts have probably, and animals have probably helped save my sanity.
Oh, yes. Absolutely. Crafts and Critters. That should be a new name podcast, Crafts and Critters.
That'd be a good one.
It would be.
Uh-huh.
It really would.
Absolutely.
You know, the thing about crafts, and there are actual studies, from universities and hospitals and that kind of thing, that show that someone who has an active thought life, whether it's reading or crafts or, working out in the yard or whatever it is, actually has a far less likelihood of developing problems with their memory, senility, Alzheimer's, and that kind of thing. I mean, this is a proven fact. This isn't something that, you hope is going to happen, but you really, the more you use your brain, the better. Now, I've been trying to let mine take a little vacation lately. Yeah.
You can't take
it didn't work because now I need a shovel to clean the craft room, but
you like to work. You know what? Let's talk about my aunt who is like 101 years old. She'll be
oh my goodness.
And Elizabeth Burgess is her name.
She
and
is so cute.
Woman is like, she lives by herself and cooks for herself. She does everything for herself. And so I asked her one day, I said, how do you do this? And she says, well, I try to, I memorize a Bible verse every day. And she said, I also love to do crossword puzzles. And she wants to depend on herself instead of anybody else.
Well, I think, mind over matter, your aunt is a phenomenal woman. I mean, I love listening to her and watching her on your show. I remember one of the episodes, it's just, she can't help herself. I think that the sky could be falling and she's still going to be laughing and singing. She's just, you have to have that mentality.
Oh, and another thing is she flirts with my husband all the time.
Oh,
she calls him the pretty man. Every time he walks in the room, she just stops everything she's doing and just looks at him. So anyway, she loves him. And so I think it's a frame of mind, don't you?
I do. I really do. And it comes down to, we've all had things in our lives that have been really bad and hard to deal with and understand. But the choice comes in two ways. You can either be better for what you've gone through, or you can be bitter because of it.
Who wants to be bitter? You know?
Bitterness begets bitterness. It's just a continual.
Mhm.
Where happiness and choosing joy in your life, even when you just don't feel like it, if you choose joyfulness, or you even say to yourself, in your own personal time in your prayers, go, Lord, I don't really like you right now. Yeah, I don't like this circumstance right now, but I also know that you're the one that's in control, not me. And you pray for that guidance in your life, and the next thing you know, you find yourself singing a hymn, or you just find yourself being grateful that you have food on your table, and electricity and clean clothes and a family and a community that love you. And that's what separates us from other people. As Christians, we're called to tell and teach and love. We're not called to judge. It's
Mhm.
not our job. And I'm so glad it's not.
Well, I mean, who has the time to do that anyway? But I wanted to say this, and you can choose your surroundings. And we both have some background, weird family members and that kind of thing. We both do, and I'm not, and something a lot of folks do. They really do. And so what I found is I can't choose weird family members, but I can choose my friends, and you're one of them.
And you're one of mine.
So, and then our husbands are huge supporters of us.
Oh yeah, yeah. I had a couple of minor health issues over the last few days, and just knowing that, having my sweet husband's support is everything to me. He chose me as his wife, and he chooses to keep me as his wife every single day.
Mhm.
And I'm sure that I don't always make that easy. I'm hard headed. I know you didn't know that, but
No, not you.
I am. I tell you. But I could not honestly. I don't think that my life would be even nearly as wonderful and rich as it is if I didn't have such a good partner. Um, and with saying that, I also can say I think a lot of that is because he loves the Lord too.
Mhm.
And that's where the difference is. People, I don't understand how people go through this life and the hardships that it has without Christ. It's bad enough. But if you don't have something that is completely and totally yours to lean on, then you have nothing.
Well, we have to change our focus. I know there are people who they watch soap operas. I would be so depressed if all I did was watch the news and soap operas. You wouldn't be able to stand to be around me. There's more to life than that, and part of it is crafting and coming up with new ideas.
Yes,
I bet it
please.
excites both of us, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I love coming up with new ideas. Sometimes you just kind of stress out, and what I call mojo's kind of gone. And you just sit down, and I have a journal I write in.
Mhm.
Next thing I know, I'm doodling. Now, doodling in a journal is a lot like when I was growing up. My mom, I was an adopted child, and I treasure the fact that God gave me parents that loved me enough to, you know, get me through life into an adult state. But my mom would sit on the phone for hours and doodle in the phone book. And
Mhm.
every time I have a pen in my hand and I'm writing in my journal, or I'm just doodling, I don't even do it. There's no mindfulness to it. But I always think about her and what she did to show me tangibly how you should treat others, how
Mhm.
it's okay to be in the background and cook that food, bring that meal to someone, do that creative thing she used to love to do, like the landscape sketches and things of that nature. I cannot draw to save my life. But, my point is that there is something that you can do that's tangible that will literally change somebody else's life.
Mhm. Absolutely. And art is also, I think, part of being creative, of course. Art, music, all of those things, I think, are a way to calm us down from a crazy world.
Oh, yeah. I agree. I love music. I love art. I love, I used to not be as big into like the mixed media thing, but I do love it. I'm not real good at like creating it, but I appreciate it for what it is. It's still an outlet, a creative outlet that's going to keep your mind crisp. So, and I've seen your work. Oh, girlfriend, you make some beautiful jewelry and wind chimes.
I've got to tell you, we've got to go into a commercial break. We're about halfway through. When we go to the break, I'm going to grab a few things, and I want to see what you think about this, okay?
Okay.
We're going to be right back in just a minute. Everybody hang tight. I'll be right back. The Hatter Cafe and Country Inn is nestled in the northeast corner of Alabama the Beautiful in the delightful town of Mentone. We're located on top of scenic Lookout Mountain near Little River and DeSoto State Park and located only 5 minutes from shopping and restaurants. There is also a nearby community walking path and golf course. We welcome everyone through the doors and we are committed to outstanding service for all guests. At the Hatter Cafe and Country Inn, we invite people from all walks of life to come and get away from it all, enjoy the open spaces, treetop views, fresh, clean air, and experience Southern hospitality at its finest. We look forward to hosting you. To reserve a special event, or if you would love a special getaway at the Country Inn, you can call us at 256-634-2018.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and my employees and I want to thank each and every one of you for your continued support. With everything going on right now, your rest is so important. That's why we're having the biggest MyPillow sale ever. Not only are my bed pillows as low as $19.98, but you can get the best body pillows ever. Regular $89.98, now only $29.98. Take your rest on the go with our Roll and Go Anywhere MyPillows for only $14.98. And we have our new couch and accent pillows. They aren't just for looks. They have MyPillow's patented adjustable fill that gives you that amazing MyPillow comfort. In this economy, you get the best gifts ever for the best prices ever. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code and you get deep discounts on body, couch, bolster pillows, and so much more, including my original bed pillows for as low as $19.98. Please order now while quantities last.
Jeff McCurdy of the McCurdy Law Firm has been a public service of this area for over 10 years. McCurdy, a member of the Henniger City Council, serves as prosecutor for the town of Sylvania and was named public defender for the city of Rainsville. The McCurdy Law Firm is located at 17326 Alabama Highway 75 in Henniger to better represent his Jackson and DeKalb County clients. If you need to be represented by a true public servant with proven success, call Jeff at 256-996-8701 or send a private email to mccurdylawfirm@gmail.com. No representation is made that the legal services performed is greater than the legal services performed by other lawyers. At Liberty Bank, we're all about community, whether it's to help with a charity fundraiser or help families in need. Toys at Christmas or a local football team, we're here for you. You see, we realize the importance of family. Sometimes it's to build a new home or necessary home repairs. We're here for you. If you like the feel of a small town bank with all the conveniences of a big city bank, we're here to serve you. You will find us at any of our convenient locations in DeKalb, Marshall, Etowah, and Blount counties in North Alabama. You can call and speak with any of our friendly staff at 256-659-2175 or check us out on the web at libertybankal.com. And thank you for your support of our community. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender. Let Rhonda at Rhonda's Elite Tax LLC take the burden off you for all your tax needs. I know because Rhonda has been taking care of my business since 2013. I feel Rhonda works for me because she knows the direct questions to ask to better benefit my unique business in order for me to get back the biggest refund possible. Rhonda is an ongoing student, and she knows tax laws are in a constant change every year. Call 256-281-9903 for an appointment to take the dread out of getting your taxes done. Rhonda is located at 11968 U.S. Highway 431 in Boaz. Again, that number is 256-281-9903. And let Rhonda's Elite Tax LLC champion your personal and business taxes.
We are back. My name is Donna Fiesel, and I'm your host of The Edge on IC Radio. In Christ Radio, we are your source for news and entertainment and just lots of fun. You can also find us on television, channel 182 on Charter Communications and Abundant Television syndicated. You can find us on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. We also have a podcast. You can check out that website right down there. It's netnewsnetwork.net. netnewsnetwork.net. Lots of nets in there. But Loretta, I've got to show you something I've been working on. And you know how you and I just can't throw anything away? I mean, it's like when we go, I could go to your house and you'll go to my house and we'll look in each other's trash cans and then we're going to pull stuff out of it. We're going to say, what are you throwing that away for? That makes no sense. So why would you want to throw this away?
You don't.
Mm-mm. You already know what I'm about to do.
I hope I do, but yeah. Tell me you're making a little whirly dig out of it. Yes. See?
Okay, now this is made out of just a regular can like this. And I like the sturdiness of these. You got to have some good wire snips or wire cutters and or tin snips is what they're called. And so Phil, you know how our husbands are always looking out after us, or afraid we're going to get hurt with something. And Phil said, don't cut a can until I get back. So he had to go to Lowe's. So what he did is he found me some really, really good tin snips. And what they do, they kind of cut this little, see, I can even put my finger over the top of this. And it is serrated so you can't get cut with it. So what I'll do is get my tin snips, make sure you got a good clean can. And I love the ones that have gold on the inside. So that's what I did with this. I'm not finished with it yet. And so I used epoxy right in here. I put a stone right there. And what's in the middle of it is just little cut up pieces of metal.
Oh, that's really pretty, Donna.
It shines out into the sun. It just really glows. And I put a little bit of glitter on top of it as well. So I got your glitter going on. Now I'm not finished with it yet. I've got to put a stem on it. And this is just going to be a yard decoration.
Have you seen the ones where they use the Coke cans and stuff and they make like I don't know what they're called, but they catch the wind, so they're like a little windmill?
That's what I'm going to do right here with some of these. Now this one, this is from using a regular can too. So I found stones and I put those in there as well. So I've used 2 cans for each one of these. And so I've cut this one shorter, and then you just use your own imagination. And so what's going to happen is the wind is going to turn this, and it's going to look really, really good out in the yard. But I'm thinking of it as a way to detour like little critters at my garden.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We'll get rid of those. And then same process with this one. You know, I love red and I love yellow. So this one, same deal.
Oh, I love that.
I like the red.
I like the movement.
Now, I like, on these right here, I like to use a good paint for a metal. Now, you know how I love sunflowers. So this one was made out of cola cans right here. But I'm not finished with it yet. I have some more ideas, but I wanted to paint it. And then one more I'm going to show you is right here. Again, it looks it's just little stones. I found these at thrift.
It reminds me of a kaleidoscope.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Very happy.
And these are little stones. I found these at a thrift store, and then I put the epoxy in the middle of it. And so that's I'm having fun. So these are cola cans right here. And this got to get you a start right here. And then this would go in the middle, and then you'll put a little jig in the middle of that, just hold everything together. And then you got your stem, you stick it in the ground, you got some yard art work.
Awesome. It is awesome. You did well.
Well, I thought of you when I was making these.
Oh, thank
But
you.
don't throw your cans away.
Don't throw your cans away now. No,
You
no,
can
no.
take all kinds of stuff out of them. And then also you can just get little strips and run it through your Cricut machine or whatever machine you've got. I thought I might have one.
A Cricut wouldn't handle it, but like a Big Shot or a manual die cutting
Yeah.
machine would.
That would work. And then
Yeah.
just cut out little pieces. Now, I'm thinking probably the cola can would actually be better than maybe using the bean can.
Yeah, well, yeah. As far as if you're gonna like cut a shape to make earrings or something, you would need to have the thinner aluminum cans. You can't use the steel; it wouldn't go through. But oh yeah, and they're fun because you can add texture to them. You can cut them into shapes, nice smooth edges, so you don't get cut, and you've got yourself some really pretty earrings in less than 5 minutes.
And I want to incorporate your ideas because I know I can already see the light bulb going off in your head.
Oh yeah.
So you could actually get this and cut it into maybe a sheet and
Yes.
and maybe use this for some of your books. Could you do something like that?
It actually I wouldn't do it with a can. You can buy
like that little that you put on this.
You can buy flashing by the roll, and it's only like 6 inches wide. So it's, 5-6 inches wide, and you can send that through a die cutter without any problem. And yes, you absolutely could make a book out of it. The only thing my caution would be is make sure those edges are nice and soft. Just sanding would do it. And then you can buy the little corner protectors just about anywhere nowadays and put those on the corners of the book so that you don't accidentally stab yourself, but you absolutely could. And you're talking $8 to $10 for a 50-foot roll of it. It's not expensive. You can buy it Lowe's or Walmart or online, whatever your little fancy is. But yeah, very easy to do. I have done a few that way. I've also done it to where you can sand it and paint it if you want, and then you can either put use your Cricut then and cut the vinyl for a small little saying, or line a tray or something with that, and you have got a really fancy dancy piece of art just by doing that.
Well, could you use the Cricut machine? Let's say I cut all this off and I just make kind of a little sheet with it. You couldn't use it for maybe embossing?
You could, but it would have to be less than 2 millimeters thick, and you have to have a special blade to do it, and you have to have a very, very sticky mat on top of that. But could you? Yes. Would I personally do it? No.
It'd be best really to use your hot shot or something like that, and
Your
maybe
Big Shot, yeah.
those little big shots. Is what you call it?
Mhm.
And then use those little things that come
The
with
dies.
just
But you can also, you don't even have to have that. If you have a talented husband like we do, and they can cut you shapes off of their, one of their jigs in the garage, and you can just paint them and sand them, and then you can make earrings or necklaces or home decor pieces, whatever your imagination can come up with. Talking about staying healthy mentally, that is how you stay healthy. It's just to let your mind wander. A lot of times, we were talking earlier about journals. Sketch something out. Even if it doesn't end up working for what you originally thought you wanted, it may work for something else. It may not work for metal. Maybe it'll work with chipboard. Or maybe it'll work and you can use a vinyl piece and make a sign. You never know until you try.
Yeah. And then like pieces like you mentioned, earlier about a book, you can find leather in thrift shops, like leather jackets. And I found a leather skirt. I would never wear it. It was like a mini skirt, but I had to get it because I thought, man, I can make something out of that.
Yeah. And the other thing you can buy, and people kind of cringe when they hear me say it, is anytime I'm at the thrift store, I look to see what kind of wedding dresses they have, especially if they're silk. Oh, hello. Silk would be even great, but even if they're just satin, all that bodice lace, all the lace that's on the train sometimes, or the buttons, all of that makes for wonderful material to make journals out of.
Mhm. And it costs you a fraction of what it would be if you went
When you
somewhere to a fabric store and bought it.
Well, yeah, and let's think about what wedding dresses really cost these days. You can buy one at thrift store for $20 to $30, and you've got a lifetime of material right there.
Hmm. Yeah. And again, just let your imagination run wild. Um,
Absolutely.
Now, one thing I made, don't have it with me, um, but I used the centerpiece right here. I found some little, they were little embroidered sunflowers. I've already given,
Oh yeah,
and
that's
I
a good
put,
idea.
well, it's material. I mean, it's cloth. It's just really it's thread, and I put that in the center of it, and then I went on ahead and put the epoxy on top of that, and so that's going to keep it from being damaged out in the sun or the wind or the rain.
True. That's a really good idea, actually. I keep bumping my computer. I'm sorry. It's going to fall over and we're all going to be on our sides.
We've got about 5 minutes left in this segment, and I know you've got some tips for us.
I do. One of my favorite tips is that as you're creating, there are some things I think that everybody should have in their craft room or in their home, period,
Mhm.
just to make life easier. One of those is puppy papers, not the real big ones, the kind of smaller ones, because they absorb moisture. Um, so if you spill something, you're good to go. If you, same thing, if it's a dry spill like glitter, you can just, it's going to catch all that little glitter. You can put it right back into its jar. Um, and when you're done with it, you don't have to necessarily throw it away. You can take the plastic backer off and put it in your garden. It's going to help absorb moisture.
It most certainly is. This is going to be like one of the best things you can actually do in gardening.
Absolutely. And people don't necessarily have coffee makers anymore. A lot of them use K cups, but you can still find coffee filters cheap enough at the Dollar Tree, Walmart. We're talking under $1 for like 500 of those little things. But same thing, if you are using a lot of glitter or you're using embossing powder, if you pour that material over your project, and that project's over the coffee filter, same thing. If something spills, it's in the coffee filter. It's not all over the room. You can take that coffee filter and put that product back in its jar. Super simple. Another thing that I love to do, and people may or may not think about it, is I love, 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 love having magic erasers. Are there generic? Because those little puppies will clean up just about anything.
Oh,
You,
wow.
you can
What
use
do
them
they?
wet, you can use them dry. You've spilled something and it's a little sticky. It'll come right back up. My other favorite thing to always have on hand are the Swiffer dry cloths. Um, they pick up anything off the floor that's little tiny microscopic crap, little pieces of paper that we have as paper crafters. It picks all that up, but it also, if you're embossing, which means that you're going to stamp an image in a very particular ink and then put the embossing powder on the top after you emboss it. If it's on a dark cardstock, sometimes it leaves a little halo. If you just take that sheet and real gently buff over it, the halo's gone. And it just makes it look a little bit more crisp and professional. Another thing I like to do is, sorry about the crinkling, you must have a bunch of these. Just ordinary, cheap, generic baby wipes. They're good for 1,000,001 things. Everything from cleaning up stuff to there are actual techniques that you can use as a base, a dry baby wipe, or even a dry dryer sheet that makes fabulous effects on like a scrapbook page or a card or all those kind of things. So those are just a few of the ones that I love and that I use literally every single day. And the last thing I think that everybody should have, regardless of their health or whatever, is let's see, there we go, alcohol prep pads. They get ink off your fingers, which is very important. They can clean up the boo boo. Yeah, don't.
Always.
Mine aren't as bad as usual. They can clean you up. Should you do get a small little nick or abrasion when you're crafting, you can clean yourself up. But they don't wear out. They don't go bad, and they don't take up that much space. So that's one of my other favorite things to have on hand is just some, even if it's how they have the sanitizing wipes and stuff like that. Those are great to have because same thing. You just clean up with them. They don't cost a lot of money, and they're easily disposed of. So,
Loretta, we've got 30 seconds left. Thank you so much for being on the show today. It always flies by too
it
fast.
does. I'm so glad to see you
Hours,
again.
girlfriend. We're going to have 5 hours. But thank you so much for watching. Thank you, Loretta, for being on the show. Tell the
Thank
hubby of
you.
yours I said thank you for his support.
I will.
Absolutely. And thank you for watching. You can find us on television as well. Channel 182 on Charter Communications, Abundance Television, which is found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire, and the podcast, which is found on netnewsnetwork.com. There you go. Thank you again, Loretta, and you take care.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. We'll see you later. Good afternoon. My name is Donna Feazell, and I'm your host of The Edge on IC Radio, your source for news and entertainment. You can also find us on television, channel 182 on Charter Communications in North Alabama, then worldwide syndicated on Abundant Television, found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. You can also check out our podcast, netnewsnetwork.net, netnewsnetwork.net, and you'll find all kinds of great talk show hosts on that same podcast station as well. So again, thank you so much for watching. We had a previous show, and this is going to be part 2 of that show. What is a good monthly retirement income? Let's talk about that for a few minutes. Such a good site. And let's go to the website. That website is financer.com. That's FINANCER.com. Some great information on this website. I really do like it. So in the post, we talked about what is retirement and why is it important. Get a little bit of rest for some folks, not all of us necessarily, but what are different kinds of retirement income, and that's Social Security, pensions, annuities, 401k, and IRAs, how they calculate your monthly income. And they had 2 really good calculator formulas. And so this is the one for income, monthly retirement income formula. That's income required equals retirement expenses minus retirement income from other sources. So that's a really good calculator. And by the way, you can go to the website and there is a calculator. You just click on it. If you're on your iPad or your iPhone, just use your finger and touch it, and you'll be able to put different numbers in there to see what you think your retirement income could be. Now, this particular segment is not just for retirement, folks. If you're young, you need to start thinking about that right now, about your income, okay, when you do retire. How much savings will you, let me talk about the good rule of thumb that they gave us right here. Also, a good rule of thumb is to assume that inflation will eat up about 3% of your purchasing power each year. I'd say probably a little bit more than that. But anyway, they're saying 3%. How much income will you need to retire? Again, you can use that formula, and it's retirement savings target equals your annual income required times 25%. Okay, times 25. Okay, strategies for maximizing your retirement income. We talked about that on the last show, and that was make sure you've got a diversified portfolio of investments. Start withdrawing from your retirement accounts as early as possible. And the reason I say that is, and let's dig just a little bit more into that. I think that's a good thing. Strategies for maximizing your income. Make sure that you have a diversified portfolio of investments. This helps you to ensure that you have a steady stream of income throughout the retirement, and also start withdrawing from your retirement accounts as early as possible. This allows you to take advantage of the compound interest and make the most of your nest egg. Keep your expenses in check during retirement. This will help you stretch your dollars further and make the most of your limited income. And then we also talked about tips for creating a retirement budget. Determine the monthly income. Subtract your monthly expenses from your monthly income. Make sure to factor inflation. Always, always, always factor in inflation when budgeting for retirement. Don't forget about unexpected expenses. It's just going to happen. There's a person named Murphy, and that's his law. And so that's going to happen. Review your budget regularly and make adjustments as you need those. Now, what are some other ways that you can actually increase your income, your retirement income? Okay, now there are a number of other ways to increase your monthly income. One way is to work part-time during retirement. This can supplement your Social Security income and give you a little extra spending money. I know a lot of folks who do that. And there are different ways you can work. And we talked on the previous show, if you were, say, worked with your hands, you were maybe a plumber, or maybe you were, just anything to do with the trades, and you have retired, but you got to do something because your wife is just nagging at you, or your husband's nagging at you to take a trip, and you don't want to use the money in the savings to do that. Why don't you work for another company? Not work necessarily, but why don't you train employees? That is a significant amount of income you can make right there, because maybe it's a welding company, and this is another thing that's really important. You need to keep up with the trends of welding, because as things are more automated and computers make things a lot easier for us, it's not like it used to be a long time ago. You need to know how to do the new ways of whatever your trade was. That could be plumbing. Maybe something else has come up, digitally, that can help you. Maybe you were in the medical world and something like COVID has hit, and you can be there for some extra income, or maybe to train their employees. Those things are well needed, and it's really significant amount of income. Maybe you're a farmer and you've learned a new way. Maybe you started using hydroponics. And I'll tell you, that happened to me this spring. So I started using the hydroponics gardening. I didn't think it was going to be this good. So I put a lot of seeds into this thing, into the hydroponics. The way the hydroponics works is like a series of PVC pipes. Phil put it together for me. You drill little holes in the PVC, and you have it, have them kind of stacked up. You can have it any way you want to. You can just have a one system. It can look like a table, whatever. But Phil actually made 3 levels for me. And so you drill holes, and so you have the water where it circulates, and it's continuously watering the seeds and the plants you put in this hydroponics. It can be lettuce, it can be all kinds of different things. And so you've done that, and you wound up with more seeds than you thought, or plants that you thought you were going to need. Okay, sell them. Go to the marketplace. That's what I'm going to have to do. And I'll be giving away a bunch of them too. But you can go to the eBay marketplace and sell those things. And maybe you decide to go ahead and just plant them, because you think, well, probably half of them are going to come up. And you wind up getting this huge, huge amount of tomatoes. I'm going to tell you what, in this part of the world, in Sand Mountain, Alabama, especially, if you raise tomatoes, they're the best tomatoes ever. I don't know if it's something about the sandy soil, the clay soil that we've got up in Mentone, that area, the rest of Sand Mountain. But we pride ourselves on having the best tomatoes. You can take them anywhere and sell them, and people will definitely buy them. All you got to do is just now it's got to be really Sand Mountain tomatoes, okay? If you're going to sell it at Sand Mountain. And there's other parts of the world that, as they have like the best, say, strawberries or whatever. And so you can definitely sell those on Marketplace, or go to a farmer's market. That's just another form of income. It's something you're doing out of your home. You're doing it in your own time. And the smart thing to do, though, don't go out into the noon sun and work on your farm. You're gonna wind up passing out. I know someone who did that, even with me telling her not to. She did it anyway, and she fell down and got hurt and bumped her head. So do it smart. And then you can also sell them any way you want to. You know what? If you live in a highly trafficked area, like I'm in the country, but a lot of cars come through here, I could put a little stand out there and sell tomatoes. So you could do the same thing. And people love to buy cucumbers. If it's made by a local farmer has farmed and had this gardening, and you've got all this stuff coming up, people would love to buy from you instead of the grocery store. I'll just put it to you that way, especially if you're an organic farmer. Think about that. That's just another way. And as a matter of fact, I know folks who had those big corporate jobs and they've retired and they love gardening now. That's just a pretty awesome thing. They didn't think they ever would. They didn't have time. They were too busy chasing that dollar. But now they're home and they got to have something to do, got a garden, and I'm making some income there. Okay, so we talked about that. There are a number of ways that you can increase your retirement income. Now remember, we pointed out in several previous shows, what you don't spend is actually income. Think about it that way. So let's say one way is to work part-time during the retirement, and that can actually supplement your Social Security income, give you a little extra spending. But another way is to downsize your home. Okay, so I had that McHouse. I had this humongous house with, say, 4 or 5 bedrooms. To keep the house, someone you trust, you can actually rent out some of those rooms. I highly suggest you let each person have their own outside entrance. That might be a little expense for you there, but that could boost it up. That can free up some extra cash you can use to supplement your income if you wanted to sell it and you wanted to downsize. Phil and I were empty nesters. We don't have kids in the house. We don't need a huge 5,000 square foot house. I didn't need that size anyway. More house to clean is the way I look at it, and I was too busy working. But if you decide to downsize, you can sell your furniture. That's another thing you can do. You can give away to Shepherd's Cove Thrift Shop. They have a truck, by the way, that'll come by and pick up, extra furniture and stuff like that if you don't need it. You can put that money that you saved. Maybe you've made $100,000 on selling your house because you're going into something so a whole lot smaller. Put that in a bank somewhere, and draw interest off of it. That's just more income coming in. Or maybe you can use it and go on trips and whatever you want to do. It's your money. Do what you want to do. I would save it, but anyway, that's just how I am. Okay, you can downsize your house and give you some extra income. Finally, you can consider relocating to a cheaper area. Oh, wow, can you? Okay, so let's say a farm here, something that would be, I'll use a great example. There was a house Phil and I looked at. It's in section before you go into Scottsboro, and it's overlooking the Brow. I'm telling you, and I think the house size was about, it's like 1,600 square feet, something like that, but who cares? You had a breathtaking view. I'm talking beautiful. That house sold for under $300,000. Anywhere else in the United States, that house would have sold for well over $1 million just based on the view. It's overlooking the Mississippi River. I mean, it was beautiful. So you had mountains and you had the water that you could look at. I'm going to tell you that I wish we'd took that out. It was just beautiful. It was just so breathtaking. So that's what I'm saying. Find a cheaper way to look. And let me tell you, you can use the internet to Google this, Google the information. And what I found was really interesting. If you'll Google the least expensive place to live in the United States, it'll come up with probably the top 10 or the top 20. Somewhere it's going to be in an area that you are familiar with. I know some people who are in the gardening class. Not everybody is from Alabama who's in this master gardening class. And they can't believe the amount of land that you can buy right here in Alabama. It's a fraction of what it costs anywhere else. Oh, we've got to go into a commercial break. We're going to be right back in just a few minutes. See you hanging there.
At at Lamone's Mexican Restaurant, located in Henniger, Alabama, and voted Best Mexican Restaurant of DeKalb County, Alabama 2020. We're here to serve you with authentic Mexican cuisine. Order easily online by going to lamonsmex.com or call 256-657-3999 to place your order. We're open Sunday through Thursday 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Friday and Saturday 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Whether you're celebrating a cozy date night for two or a celebration for a crowd, at Lamone's you'll love our atmosphere and friendly servers. Thank you for dining with Lamone's Mexican Restaurant. At Liberty Bank, we're all about community, whether it's to help with a charity fundraiser or help families in need. Toys at Christmas or a local football team, we're here for you. You see, we realize the importance of family. Sometimes it's to build a new home or necessary home repairs. We're here for you. If you like the feel of a small town bank with all the conveniences of a big city bank, we're here to serve you. You will find us at any of our convenient locations in DeKalb, Marshall, Etowah, and Blount counties in North Alabama. You can call and speak with any of our friendly staff at 256-659-2175 or check us out on the web at libertybankal.com. And thank you for your support of our community. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender. The only place I buy my beef is Lone Tree Ranch in Collinsville, Alabama. Their cattle is born and raised on their ranch, grass and grain fed, and you can feel confident when you serve your family and friends because their beef is all natural and no antibiotics or hormones are added. You can buy whole beef or perhaps go in with family or friends and buy half. Their customer service is number one as they take care of the delivery to their local processor and can deliver to your home for a small added fee. They also offer herd replacement heifers. I always call Lone Tree Ranch in Collinsville, Alabama for my beef specialty recipes and cookouts, and you can too. Food shortages are increasing, so buy local by calling 256-523-6462. That's 256-523-6462. Let Rhonda at Rhonda's Elite Tax LLC take the burden off you for all your tax needs. I know because Rhonda has been taking care of my business since 2013. I feel Rhonda works for me because she knows the direct questions to ask to better benefit my unique business in order for me to get back the biggest refund possible. Rhonda is an ongoing student, and she knows tax laws are in a constant change every year. Call 256-281-9903 for an appointment to take the dread out of getting your taxes done. Rhonda is located at 11968 U.S. Highway 431 in Boaz. Again, that number is 256-281-9903. And let Rhonda's Elite Tax LLC champion your personal and business taxes. The Hatter Cafe and Country Inn is nestled in the northeast corner of Alabama the Beautiful in the delightful town of Mentone. We're located on top of scenic Lookout Mountain near Little River and DeSoto State Park and located only 5 minutes from shopping and restaurants. There is also a nearby community walking path and golf course. We welcome everyone through the doors and we are committed to outstanding service for all guests. At the Hatter Cafe and Country Inn, we invite people from all walks of life to come and get away from it all, enjoy the open spaces, treetop views, fresh, clean air, and experience Southern hospitality at its finest. We look forward to hosting you. To reserve a special event, or if you would love a special getaway at the Country Inn, you can call us at 256-634-2018.
Good afternoon. We are back. My name is Donna and I'm your host of The Edge on IC Radio, your source for news and entertainment. You can also find us on television, channel 182 on Charter Communications, as well as Abundant Television, which is syndicated and found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. You can also check out our podcast. netnewsnetwork.net netnewsnetwork.net. Make sure you check it out. We're talking about how you can ways that you can increase your retirement income, and there's several different ways you can do that. We're healthier now than we used to be. We're supposedly living longer. We're exercising more. They say 60 is the new 50, or 50 is the new 60, and 40 is the new 50. You're hearing all this stuff all the time. And I will say this, people don't look their age anymore. They just don't. So, and that's for the folks who've taken really good care of themselves. Okay, ways to increase your retirement income. We were talking about, you can supplement, find some extra spending money, especially if you're the trades jobs. I mean, you got it going on for the rest of your life. You can teach other companies how to have good, anything to do with trades. You can talk about that. And that goes on also into healthcare, that kind of thing as well. Another thing you can do if you've been in healthcare for a number of years, people are always looking for coders. And you can do this from your home as long as you've got maybe phone service, you got a really, really good internet service. A number of things you can do out of your home. You can work customer service for the big companies. They'll take you. They're looking for people who will work out of their home. Again, got to have a good phone service. You also have to have a good internet connection. That'll be kind of a training situation thing that you'll have to go through, but as long as you have a good, clear telephone voice, they don't care if you sound country like I do. They don't care as long as you got a good, clear voice and you sound really friendly on the phone. That's good income right there. You don't have to go anywhere. You just work out of your home, and you'll have some set hours that you work as well. And again, good income. You're supplementing the income from your Social Security, because you're just not going to get a whole bunch of it, I tell you that. Okay, we consider relocating into a cheaper area. You can help you save money on housing and other living expenses, leaving you with more money to put towards retirement. And again, renting out a room. If an event is coming up into your town, like here, I know the group Alabama, they always had, they used to have this concert they would put on every single year. And this concert, they're bringing it back. There may be some folks coming into town. You can go to Airbnb, and maybe you got a room you can rent out to folks who are coming into town. You need to make sure that some criteria is met on that. And so you can do Airbnb, just all kinds of websites that are out there, and just some income coming in. There's sometimes remember when the Olympics were in Atlanta? This was a long time ago. Several years ago, and there were people, I was living in Anniston, Oxford area at that time. There were people who lived in the Anniston, Oxford area who were renting out rooms to people coming in from all over the world who wanted to come to the Olympics. So people are making all kinds of extra income that way. Look for events that are coming into the area. We're close enough in where I live, just a few minutes away from Huntsville. So anytime Huntsville is going to have an event, you may be able to hook up with one of those websites and rent out some space in your house. Yeah, you can do that. Okay, another way you can actually earn income is maybe shopping for groceries for somebody who's homebound. Could be a young person who maybe broke a hip or something, broke their back or whatever, and they need somebody to do some rounds for them for groceries or something like that. You can make some income doing that as well. Okay, let's get with a summary. Is your monthly retirement income enough? Okay, as you approach retirement, it's essential to have a clear understanding of your monthly income and expenses. That way you won't get caught off guard. This will help you determine if your monthly retirement income is sufficient to cover your costs. Maybe you need to hold off on retiring. So, different things can happen. There are several factors to consider when evaluating that monthly income and expenses, including your expected sources of income. And again, this includes Social Security, pensions, annuities, and your investment earnings. That's really, really important. Your anticipated expenses, we talked about that in part one. This includes your housing costs, transportation, food, healthcare, insurance, and leisure activities. Everybody needs some, you can't be all work. You got to do something, okay, and have some fun. Um, they say that you really need, if you are working and you got this career going on, you need to take about 3, especially if you own your business. I'm telling you this, and I need to do this. Phil and I do. We talk about it, but we just never do it. You need to take at least 3 little mini vacations per year, about every 90 days or so, maybe every 90, 120 days. Just take a place just to go somewhere. Don't use your cell phone. Now you need to take it with you on the trip in case you have a problem on the road. Leave the phone somewhere hidden from yourself where you're not going to be, because every time the phone goes off, you're going to look. I mean, here, I get phone calls while we're on the air sometimes. You remember that? And I'm always going to look because I wonder, could it be my son or my daughter in love? Maybe something's happened. Why do mothers do that? So take some time off. Have some money put off to the side for that. Our 30th wedding anniversary is coming up in August. And so I've been to San Antonio on a business trip, and Phil lived in Houston, Texas, but never went to San Antonio, never went to the Riverwalk. So we're planning on that. So that's going to be happening in September. And let me tell you something else we're doing to save money. We actually got married on September the 4th, 1993. Okay, that was Labor Day weekend, which was fine when we got married. But when we're taking trips, it can cost almost twice that if we're going to take the trip on Labor Day weekend. And so we're not going to do that. So, I mean, we'll go out and have a nice dinner, on our anniversary day. But the trip we always take either before or after our wedding anniversary. We're saving about half off. Another cool thing you could do. Anticipated expenses, that could be your housing costs. We talked about that. Now, your desired lifetime in retirement. Do you plan to travel or to downsize? Are you expecting to maybe help support some family members? Again, I mentioned earlier about there's some grandparents who are raising their grandkids right now. That's added expense. If kids cost something, they cost something to go to school. If they play football, baseball, they're in cheerleading or whatever, that stuff costs something. Your desired lifestyle. Once you understand your income and expenses well, you can start planning on retirement. If you find that your monthly income is insufficient to cover your costs, there are a few options to consider. Let's go over that one more time. Okay, number 1 is increase the retirement savings. Make additional contributions to your retirement savings accounts, such as IRAs and 401ks. That's something you young folks can be doing right now. And don't be ashamed to work as a janitor or something, working with the state of Alabama or your state, wherever you're from. And if you are let's say you're a janitor, first of all, it's not that difficult. Janitors and people who work on garbage trucks have really nice retirement savings. They really do. It's not to be laughed at. So if you've worked, say, for the school system, whether that is in the lunchroom, I know this from one of my aunts who retired lunchroom, again, good income. So if you retire lunchroom or maybe a janitor or maybe a school bus driver, at least 10 years, and you've been doing that job, you're going to have a nice retirement income in addition to your Social Security. So that's not to be frowned on at all. Okay, delay retirement you could possibly do. Continue working until you saved enough to cover your monthly expenses. Now, this is something that I think you can retire at 63, I think, 62, 63. And so you can go ahead and take that retirement. You will make more money if you delay that. I don't think it adds up. I just don't. I choose it early. That's just my opinion. Talk to the person who does your books, your accountant, someone who does your taxes for you every year, and see what they think you need to do. If they are a conservative, they're probably going to say, go ahead and get it now, as soon as you possibly can. Okay, now we talked about increasing the retirement savings, delay the retirement, downsize, go to a cheaper home, or you can reduce other living expenses. Who needs cable anymore when you've got Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire? What do you need it for? You can also get an antenna to go outside. That's going to cost you a one-time $30 to $50. You can go elaborate and pay $100 if you wanted to for it. That's quite a savings right there. Now, we all apparently have to have the internet, so, we got that expense, but you don't have to add another $40 for cable. So, I mean, it's up to you. Reevaluate your budget always, every year, reevaluate. We do about twice a year reevaluation. Look for areas you can cut back spending and use less the extra funds for retirement savings. Ultimately, it's up to you to determine your monthly retirement income will be sufficient and see if it's going to be sufficient to meet with your needs in retirement. With proper planning and budgeting, you can ensure that you have the financial security you need during those golden years of life and be able to take those trips so you can go see your grandkids. You know what? The kids are always going to be working. They look at what your lifestyle was. If you were constantly working, they're going to be constantly working. You're probably going to have to be the one to make the trips. That's feeling me. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. My name is Donna, and I am your host of The Edge on IC Radio, your source for news and entertainment. You can also find us on television, channel 182 on Charter Communications, as well as Abundant Television, syndicated. You can find us on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire, and also check out the podcast. Boy, I'm having so much fun with that podcast. netnewsnetwork.net. netnewsnetwork.net. Again, thank you so much for watching. You know you're the apple of my eye. You most certainly are. You're the reason I get up in the morning and have this show. So again, thank you so much for watching. Take care.